Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin-yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Wednesday, April 26th, 9 p.m. Mountain Time 2023. It's going to be a record cold May for the eastern half of the U.S., and that includes snow for the west. But the big story, severe storm threatens 50 million today from Texas to Florida, with giant hail and tornadoes possible. Keep calm. It's boom time. Florida could see rare baseball-sized hail and damaging winds from these storms, and an alert level 3
severe weather. This is a level 3 threat.
Was issued today.
It also is centered right over top of places like Orlando, Port St. Lucie. So kind of the northern portion of the Florida Peninsula, as well as kind of the central heart of the state. That's where we could see some of the stronger storms, but even all the way down to Miami, Fort Myers, Tampa, these are all zones as well that I want you to be on guard and just be aware that we could see those conditions deteriorate very fast. The potential for 2-inch diameter size hail or larger. Notice this hatch zone. It also includes a lot of us. And this
Holy
is rather
macaroni,
unusual
that is a huge swath. And certainly it did hail. Hail smashed through pool screens in Claremont, Florida. Oh, what happened there? Let's replay that. That doesn't look good. You also have rare hail pounding.
Crazy weather.
Look at this. Call that a shredder.
Possible overnight across Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas, and taking aim at other states going forward through Thursday and Friday. We'll get to that in a moment. But again, the threats for now, very large hail, damaging winds, and possibly isolated tornadoes. Also worth mentioning, very important, some of these storms could produce heavy rain, which could lead to isolated flash flooding. Now, these storms are going to continue to pull east going into Thursday, even further into the day on Thursday. Still risk of thunderstorms for much of the Gulf Coast. Once again, it's damaging wind gusts and large hail as the primary threats, but a few tornadoes are certainly possible, and low threat does not mean no threat. Now, also, we want to mention, too, that deep South Texas could see hail of 2 inches in diameter or bigger.
And the hail's certainly piling up in all regions. Hail piles up like snow in Brevard County. Look at the size of that one. That is a significant hailstone, and you wouldn't want that to hit you on the head. Take a look at some of these pictures from the hail event. Quite spectacular today in Florida as they got the white rain that we predicted 10 years ago. Reed Timmer is not out of the fray. Large hail, larger than baseballs in Tully, Texas, were captured on some of his footage yesterday. Take a look at this classic large hail producer. This storm here in Tully, Texas yesterday.
Yeah, this is huge. Oh, look at him fall. Look out, look out, look out. Look at him come. Look out, look up. Look up there. You can see the white dots. Oh, my God. Connor, look at this. Yeah, this is big. Oh, Connor, look at this. Man, I put it on my boat. Oh! We're one hit away from 50%. Oh! One hit away from 50%. Oh! Oh! There it is. Yeah, we got it. There it is. Shatter. Big shatter. All right. Push that out to the right. Rising motion. Shattered windshield. Shattered.
Reed, is always a pleasure to watch, and we always link all of his good footage over on our Twitter page, which is where this came from, at Oppenheimer Ranch, at Diamond the Dave. Oppenheimer Ranch at Diamond the Dave. We've got almost 6,000 followers. We want to get that to 10,000 by the end of the year. So please come over and follow us for propaganda-free news, science, and insight. Cool and wet for the east this week.
So the weather's about to get pretty miserable from the Great Lakes into the Northeast for
pretty extended period of time. We're talking starting late this week and lasting through the beginning of May. And what's going to happen is we'll get this area of low pressure that develops over the Great Lakes, and it's going to get stuck because there's a blocking area of high pressure that'll be sitting over eastern Canada. So this low won't have anywhere to go, and it's going to bring all the fun stuff with it, like cooler temperatures, you know, some raininess, some windiness. You can see the temperatures will drop between Sunday and Monday in places like Chicago and Cleveland from the 60s into the 40s, and a lot of afternoon highs in the 40s for an extended period of time after that. So during the afternoons, the wind will be gusting anywhere from 20 to 30 miles an hour. And it's not just going to be a cool rain. There are some spots, especially farther up toward the north, like up north in Wisconsin, parts of the UP, where we'll get some wintry precip mixing in as well. Could see a little bit of snow. Obviously, this time of year, pretty rare to see a significant amount of snow, but we'll at least have some flakes mixing in with the rain. And again, that pattern lasts for a little while. So get ready for it if you live in some of those spots. Enjoy some of the relative warmth while it lasts.
And now the full forecast. Severe thunderstorms and tornado threat in the south today. Excessive rain may bring flooding. Severe thunderstorms producing damaging winds, very large hail, and a few tornadoes are expected over much of the north central Texas this afternoon and evening, including Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. Isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms producing very large hail and damaging winds may also occur in the Florida Peninsula. Excessive rain may cause flooding in the Arc-La-Tex region, and this threat will move east in the southeast all night and into tomorrow. And here is that looming threat. Here is Thursday. You can see that severe weather threat moving east Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Good news, it doesn't look severe. Bad news is that this cool weather in the east, here we are at the 27th, is going to persist through March, and it's going to get worse. Take a look at this. April 30th, May 1st, this huge plume is affecting 2/3 of the country here. Monday, May 1st, is not looking like Indian summer anywhere. Take a look at that. That's 16 degrees below normal for many states. And here's May 2nd. It's not going to warm up. This is May 2nd into May 3rd. It's going to be very chilly east of the Mississippi for the first week of May. Hey. But it's going to be exceptionally hot in the west starting now, starting Thursday, getting hotter on Friday. And that's when the heavy melt is going to be happening in this region, and we could see flood threats through the weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's going to be heavy flooding in Oregon and Northern California as that record snowpack runs off towards the Pacific. And the snow is not over either. Shut up, Al. Get in your hole. He doesn't believe it's going to snow in May. But here is Thursday through Friday. Heavy system moves through Colorado and drops all the way down towards Texas. That is very unusual. Saturday, Sunday here, Monday, a huge system exploding over Ontario and moving east by Tuesday and Wednesday, May 3rd. Take a look at the snow moving into the Sierras in the beginning of May. Here is May 5th. Heavy snow coming to the central Sierras. It's still on the map. Could be some heavy snow in Nevada, as well as Alberta and British Columbia. Take a look at this. This is through May 12th. I've never seen a pattern like this. Hopefully, it does not persist. Grand solar minimum much? Now the biggest we've ever felt. Consecutive earthquakes rock New Zealand's North Island. New Zealand's North Island has been rocked by a number of strong consecutive earthquakes. Just hours after the 7.2 magnitude quake shook the same region yesterday. There was no tsunami warning or threat. That was canceled. Good news. But the first quake, 10:16 a.m., was at a depth of 21 kilometers near the rural settlement of Putananga. It was followed by a magnitude 5.4 earthquake at a depth of 17 kilometers a few minutes later in the same location. Then two smaller quakes, Mag 3.9 and 3.5, struck. More than 25 were reported in the hour after the first struck. So, small seismic swarm in New Zealand. I hope you all are safe. Seismic update worldwide. No quakes of note. The most recent 5.1 in the South Sandwich Islands. We have some activity here up in Greece at 5.1. We've got a quake up in Chalice, Idaho, which is just north of those amazing geoglyphs we're going to be doing a tour on this summer. Not a bummer. So stay tuned for more boom. Worldwide volcano news update. Nothing spectacular, nothing out of the ordinary, normal activity. Swanosema to 6,000. We've got Fuego, Popo, Ibu, Sangay, Nevado de Ruiz, and many others, but nothing significant. Suano Sima to 5,000, Sabancaya to 25,000, Fuego to 14, Popo to 22, Sangay to 22, back to normal, and Nevado de Ruiz to 20,000 feet. Hello. Now, we do have some space weather to talk about. Something happened just a few hours ago, earlier today, which dropped the density down logarithmically. The same thing happened to the plasma speed, which appears to be extremely erratic while there's no shift in the phi angle or the BZ. This is probably the passage of that plasma filament that we reported on last night that has now entered the realm of geospace. Now, the bad news is that they are predicting KP5 from a coronal hole, which may come early. But you see here this perturbation? We got up to KP7 at Boulder Station 9 hours ago. That is the same height of any of the geomagnetic indices in the last solar storm. But the aurora forecast is slightly weak. We now see a slight uptick in the KP index here at Boulder, coming in at maybe KP4, and another slight uptick at College Station. KP overall sitting at 3 with a slight bump up towards 4, but we're going to see this ramping up over the next 24 to 48 hours of powers as we wait for the coronal hole stream to couple with us, and that is coming from coronal hole 96 here. That should couple with us any moment, while that transiting plasma filament is also affecting space weather. So stay tuned for more updates if we rapidly shoot up into geomagnetic storm. Now, astronomers snapped the first ever direct image of a black hole blasting out a powerful jet. I can't make this up. This is so asinine. An object that, when you read about, sucks everything in existence is now blasting out powerful jets. These stories have been hitting the mainstream media now for the last 5 years. And it shows that, well, the models that we're currently using are not correct, not even in the slightest fashion. Let's take a look at this video here of astronomers who have captured the first direct image of a black hole that is blasting out a powerful jet. Probably not. Now, this is with the help of Alma, and the reason we're not turning the volume up is because we'll be demonetized. But here's the new image. And there we can see a black hole, which is not a black hole, by the way. And the fact that they even think that something that's hypothetical, that we cannot image, we are able to image. And not only that, something that consumes everything in the universe is now emitting objects. That is the dumbest shit I've ever watched. I think I just got a little dumber. Thanks, NASA and Space.com. You guys are doing a bang-up job over there. Has the Tully monster mystery finally been solved after 65 years? Do you even know what the Tully monster is? Well, you're looking at it. Based on multiple lines of evidence, the vertebrate hypothesis of the Tully monster is untenable. And this is thanks to, well, some 3D imaging and scans coming out from the Far East. I don't know specifically where. I did know earlier, but it's been hours since I set the show up. But I do digress. The fossil gets its name, Tullimonstrum gregarium, or Tully, as a common monster, from Francis Tully, an amateur fossil collector who discovered the specimen in 1955 while scouring the Mason Creek fossil bed in Illinois. Now, the Mason Creek is well known for plant fossils in these concretion-like pebbles that are at the base of the creek. You crack them open, and usually there's a plant inside. But in this case, they found a very unique, in this instance, a soft-bodied animal with a weird head and a weird tail, and no one knew what it was. But a new paper coming out on the 16th of April, Three-Dimensional Anatomy of the Tully Monster, cast doubt on its presumed vertebrate affinities, has concluded that this is a soft-bodied animal, maybe like a jellyfish or some kind of a tube worm with a tail. It's anyone's guess. It's just not a vertebrate. but one of the most unique and rarest fossils coming from the Mason Creek specimens. Fantastic. And as in all of our podcasts, all of the links to all of the information we talk about will be linked below, so go get it. Now, 8 bodies were found dumped in Mexican resort of Cancun as authorities search for missing people. This phenomenon of people getting murdered and buried has been going on for half a decade, and we've warned about traveling to these regions. Yet young and jaded people, or people that are uninformed, continue to vacation in places where they have a high probability of being chopped up and murdered and chucked into a hole. So please, if you don't know where you're going and you don't have the wherewithal to protect yourself and your family, don't just pick a point on the map and take a vacation there, as it is very dangerous worldwide. It's so dangerous that banks are failing. First Republic's market value plunged below $1 billion from a $40 billion peak. And the mainstream is not even telling you how significant it is. The graphs that they show just show the last few days, right here, where there was a major drop in the last few days, losing 50% of their market share. But if we go back here, let's say December of 2021, the stock value was $221 per share. Currently, it's $5. That is a literal tanking. Here we can see the entire history of First Republic Bank, and let's just come in on the last few months. February 2nd, 2023, a single share of First Republic Bank worth $147. Just 5 weeks later, that same share was worth $12. From $147 to $12 means you've lost your entire life savings in a week. And it dropped down even further today, down to $5, and they halted trading. So it's over for this bank. First Republic is done. Its entire history over decades has been eliminated after $50 million, maybe $50 billion was taken out of ATMs worldwide from people that have accounts at First Republic. Now, will this then translate over to the collapse of other banks? Of course it will. This has been ongoing. And like we've always said, there is not a rapid, immediate thing that happens. It's a slow process, and you won't even notice it if you're not watching. It'll all hit you at once, and then we'll be at digital currency. Period. And every transaction you make will be tracked and or banned. So that's the dystopian future we're headed into. And this is all thanks to the powers that be that have been lying for decades about everything, specifically science. Here's a paper I want to share with you about the historical data the IPCC ignored. And it's not temperature data, because the IPCC and NASA and NOAA have adulterated that. They've changed it over the last 2 decades, and people like Tony Heller, our channel, and many others have shown those graphs over the last decade that they have shifted. They've changed the data set. But the original data from scientists collecting CO2 data cannot be changed. It can be hidden, but this paper reveals that they are liars. In fact, back in 1948, CO2 hit 430 parts per million, similar to today. Do you know about that? Back in 1940, we hit 420 parts per million. These are all global warming numbers where we have to change policy and make people poor and make your gas $7 a gallon, because this has never happened before. It's your fault. And they are liars. The historical data does not lie. CO2 has been just as high as today 100 years ago. And that is a boom to knowledge. The paper will be linked below. It's 12 pages, and this is some of the stuff you can stick right up the of your global warming friends. It's as nice as I can put it. Please share this video, as we are shadow banned from YouTube, and we have literally dropped off a cliff on subscriber growth for the last 3 years. We went from 3,000 subscribers per month to 300. That shows you the power of these oligarchic ass tarts at YouTube. which, by the way, can suck it. Please hit the thumbs up. We love each and every one of you. Be safe, and that is a boom. Fuck you.